some interesting facts about loneliness. Being alone can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes you enjoy it, and other times you avoid it. Loneliness and being alone can have different meanings for us. Some love it and others hate it. In the middle are those who believe that sometimes it is good to be alone, other times, to enjoy company. But being alone is one thing and feeling lonely is another. Indeed, one of the strange facts about loneliness is that it does not depend on the number of friends, but on the quality of the ties. This is a fact well known by famous or powerful people who are always surrounded by people with whom they maintain superficial relationships. As humans, we are social by nature, but the degree of sociability varies greatly, depending on the individual and their circumstances. Some people even live alone, but that does not mean that they have lost the essence of being human. Let's look at some interesting facts about loneliness. He who delights in solitude is either a wild animal or a god. Aristotle. Loneliness that is self-chosen and enjoyed is a sign of emotional maturity. Who feels most alone? An intriguing fact about loneliness is the number of stereotypes that surround it. In fact, almost everyone believes that those who feel the most lonely are older adults. However, the BBC's loneliness experiment showed that this is not necessarily the case. Although it was not a scientific study as such, the surprising result emerged, that young people feel more lonely than older people. In fact, the survey found that only 25% of people over 75 said they felt lonely. In contrast, 40% of young people between the ages of 16 and 24 felt lonely. Even when participants of all ages were asked when they had felt the loneliest in their lives, the majority claimed it was in their youth. Perhaps this is because the transition from adolescence to young adulthood coincides with a process of individualization, where family ties are generally renounced. It can be experienced as a feeling of great loneliness. The negative side of social isolation. Social isolation damages and creates suffering when it is not self-chosen. A 2011 study found that involuntary social isolation causes the body to behave as if it is threatened. It increases blood pressure, triggers reactions to physical and psychological stress. The same study showed that social isolation increases the risk of cardiovascular problems. It also reduces the effectiveness of the immune system, which increases the risk of infections. In fact, vaccines have shown less effectiveness against influenza in people who experience unwanted loneliness. Other studies show that chronic loneliness increases the risk of early death by up to 14%. The impact of this situation has even been compared to the impact of long-term tobacco use. Another interesting fact is that people who feel lonely perceive cold more intensely. Unwanted loneliness has both physical and psychological effects. Other interesting facts about loneliness. One positive aspect of loneliness is that people in this state have been shown to be more empathetic than others. They have a great ability to understand other people's pain and experience a natural solidarity with those who suffer. Therefore, they tend to make better friends than those who are more social. Although loneliness is generally perceived negatively, the truth is that 41% of the population believe that the condition has several positive aspects, as shown by the BBC survey mentioned above. One of these positive elements is that it facilitates introspection and allows for a greater connection with ourselves. Similarly, lonely people are more likely to form meaningful bonds with others, if given the opportunity. The available data show that people who choose to be alone are more coherent in their decision-making, calmer, better at setting boundaries with others. Furthermore, they judge others less and are more loyal. In fact, for many, voluntary solitude is a synonym for both freedom and autonomy.